What's up, notJust developers? Welcome to another episode of notJust podcast. Today, I invited one of my friends, Mark, to the podcast to talk more about mobile app development, onboardings, and how to grow a business with your mobile applications. Mark has been working for over 25 years in sales in huge corporations, doing $1 billion per year. And more recently, he transitioned into building his own applications and also working with founders, helping them grow their mobile app business. Hello, Mark, and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
What's up, man? Pretty good, man. I'm over here on the other side of the world compared to other people. So
Perfect. Was the intro good? Is there anything that I missed?
no, it's pretty good. I mean, I've been behind the tech world since 2006, actually. Didn't really think about businesses until like digital businesses until like 2011. Had a nice pop in 2012, 2017, and then COVID. And it was always like a hobbyist side behind my day job of corporate lifestyle, making other people rich and whatnot. But then I shifted after COVID, kind of just shifted the mindset, like, let's just go digital full time. And been doing my own app since. And then shifted into, like you said, consulting for founders, shifting them into growing their app into businesses and helping them see patterns that they may not see. So, yeah.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. I personally learned a couple of good things from you. So I'm pretty sure that people will learn a lot by watching this podcast by the end. Can you give us a quick intro of what a person watching this podcast is going to learn by the end? Like, why should they stick with us?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm hoping to kind of like, some people might have like, oh, I already know that or whatnot, but I'm hoping to more expand more down into the funnel of how these things work, how the strategies work, by the simple steps, thinking, 5 steps before even things happen. Taking multiple different data patterns and seeing like bigger data patterns is the best way of saying that, or like bottlenecks or something. And, we'll go into strategies and insights into these as well too. So more of just
Perfect.
takeaways into learning deeper and stuff. So
But what exactly we're going to learn? Are we going to learn about gardening?
onboarding flow, like and it sounds broad now, yes, but just listening to some of the insights that I have, and I'll hopefully just expand this side on like more than what you have never heard before is kind of the idea. So
Perfect. Yeah, I know that a good onboarding is so crucial for an application. That's where you either lose the customer or you gain him. That's where the most of the money is made. So thank you very much for deciding to join and share with us more learnings about onboardings. I'm personally on my way of learning this. So I'm here all years. I'm going to ask questions and learn from you. And I hope that everyone watching this or listening to this are also going to take a lot of things that they can apply to onboarding things in their applications. Can I ask a question? Like, what are some of the most important things that people get wrong when implementing onboarding screens?
It's a good question. I mean, there's a plethora of things. One would be accounts. Do we really need accounts or do we not need accounts? So it's like there's apps, I don't know if I say this word 50-50 right on the time, like immediacy apps that are needed right now, cameras, apps that are needed like in a moment's time with someone. And then there's apps that people won't open till they're sitting down. There's more of the casual apps. And so, in terms of these immediacy apps, probably saying that right, but I don't know.
I understand the point.
Yeah,
You need it
everybody knows the word I'm
immediately.
saying. You have to say it that way though, or not the way I'm per se. But anyways, so there's like in the moment, for example, like you have a camera app or something like that. So if you're like on vacation, or something like that, and you need like the specific thing or whatever, I don't know, and you see this app, it's like, you got to go through 23 onboarding screens and sign up for an account. It's like just to take it's like, I don't need that. Oh, you could skip it and whatnot. And there's benefits to skipping and not skipping, but to finish on this. And then there's like the health apps and then the reference apps and then fitness apps. Those can have the 20 onboarding screens and the accounts because you need to log. You don't necessarily need to log. You can have no account and start locally, core defaults, user core data, so forth, user defaults just for the
Or
course.
anonymous users. Or anonymous users. That's what I started implementing a lot in my apps.
Yeah, and think of it this way. People have heard this before. Steal ideas from games. So if you think about it, a lot of these games are coming out with a lot of these newer games are coming out with they're all logins, no matter what. They're all logins, but they all have guest logins now. So this just is basically skip, but it still registers your, the device and whatnot. So these are I'll give you some numbers here. The accounts have one of the biggest friction points of all onboarding. It's usually done in the wrong area. In the beginning is the worst generally. Some people argue oh, I needed to save to the account. You can persistently save it in your onboarding flow and then move it over to or when they officially move over, and then you're still getting data from all these. My hands are all over the place here. You're still getting data points from Mixpanel, Firebase, Analytics, and so forth, regardless if they're going to sign up or not. So that way you can understand those data points on where the drop-off points are and those friction points of the account creation, like when it's needed, when it's not, and so forth like that.
I can share actually some data here because I think this is a really important topic, like the drop off on the sign in screen. Maybe you can comment out, but this is from one of my applications. The sign in is not first screen. Like sign in, like I have a onboarding of around 10 screens. And as you can see, like all of them have around 10% drop off in total. I think like per screen, like it's even less. The paywall, yeah, it has a drop off of what? 51 out of 430, 21. Here, like on the sign in, we can see that
Look
even
at that
higher,
drop off right on the end there. Yeah.
even higher than the paywall. So less people go away on the paywall compared to when I do sign in. And actually, I'm providing like the guest sign in here. So this is crazy.
And I was going to ask like a super detailed question, but it's not important. So, but you see the drop off between sign in and completed, right?
Yep.
I'm going to throw a tangent here. So I'm going to say this, and post people are probably going to hate me. They're like, I don't like welcome screens. I think I think welcome screens need to be more interactive, more like not just info. It's like it's almost regurgitated info from the app store to the welcome screen. And I was actually going to show your data there. If you your drop off just from the welcome screen to the next screen was I think like your second or third biggest outside of your your onboarding to paywall segment. Yeah. So 655 or so people didn't go past I'm assuming, right? This is the first time I'm seeing this. So that's my assumption.
Yeah, this is actually, they see a welcome screen, which is not here, and then they press a button and they come here, and this is onboarding started. So
okay, so I was incorrect on the inception of just seeing that initial data.
Yeah,
okay.
But still, like from the first onboarding screen, like a lot of people drop off. Then like less people.
Usually your segments will hold people, and then it's the transitions that is where most people will fall off.
Yeah.
So that goes into flow integration. So, a lot of things that I'm seeing on X is like copy this, and that. And now we have 15, 20, 30 onboarding screens. And like, oh, that's great because it's fatigue. They're going to buy. It's a higher. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. That's just like not how that really works. You just don't like this segment isn't necessarily because it worked on X, it works on here. But don't get me wrong, they're all amazing ideas, but they're not meant to just be, we're sold on do this and you're going to make money. That's what we're sold on. And I look at things, I break it down into how to use that. Does this benefit my app? In terms of how that benefits, how does something, I reverse engineer the idea. How many do I need all 5 of these screens of that segment? No. Okay. So I need maybe 2 or 3 of them. Okay. Do I need back button? No. And then there's a lot of people fall off because there's too many clicks. And what I mean by this in a quick way is a lot of these onboardings are going to have questionnaires, questions and answers and
Yes.
whatnot. But then they're going to also, you select your answer and then there's another continue button.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just clicking twice. Sometimes you need it, and
Yeah.
we're not going to detail this. And then sometimes, like, here's the thing, like, we're moving into the singularity is not an event, it's an actual purpose. Like you don't, it's, you know, it's seamless actions. It's like how I think about how do I remove all the friction possible, you know, in order to target the result that I want. All my all my onboardings have several different variations into the data that I'm trying to receive. For example, I'm receiving data before, like right on the app open. A lot of people miss this opportunity on the app open. You can stash a lot of information from there. And then like for people who delete the app, you could stash and not. And then like, here's the beauty of the app open. I guarantee 99 out of 100 apps, besides the big ones, are missing this. It's like the app open could tell every single thing and segment to what you want to do. You could have 3 to 5 different onboardings. And then based on the app open, based on time, you can have device times, device dates, like, oh, they opened it up on the weekends or something like that. You know, if you're an event app or I'm just shooting out of my head here, but like, and so many things like that. So I could
So
keep going, but please, next
yeah, yeah.
question. Yeah.
What exactly do you mean? Can you go a bit more in depth into like the app open? I didn't quite understand the topic.
So I have to think of an example. Let's say a returning user, someone who's downloaded your app and then deleted it, re-downloaded your app.
Mm-hmm.
You can store information that stays on their device for when they return with their app.
Mm-hmm.
So when you return, when I'm sorry, I think
So
the answer is
you
going to be
provide a different onboarding experience for different use cases.
correct. And also for you can store multiple times. If this person has downloaded, deleted multiple times, then you can trigger different events like feedback forms. Hey, you welcome back. Or what
Yeah.
brought you back this time? You know, what I'm just shooting
I
things. You get the idea, yeah.
I think Yazio, like an app for calorie tracking, is doing this. I saw that they are doing this every time. Like I stop using it, and when I come back to it, like after a month or two, they're basically not putting me in the application. They're bringing me back into an onboarding experience. It's different from new users. Like it's asking, like, why are you back? Like why this time is different than previous time? Why like and I think yeah, that's what you're saying, right? Like to have onboarding experience not only for new users but returning as well. Or
I try to build new and returning different segments for app opens, basically. Yeah. And but it
okay, that's
depends on the idea though. Yeah. Every client has, you know, it's like, you know, 80% of my brain is mostly on client apps, you know, and then 20% of my stuff, of course. But like it's the, you know, but it's yeah. So
perfect. Yeah, that's something new. I'll think like how I can integrate in my applications if needed, because I probably like you need this at one point, like when you have these returning users. Because if you're just getting started, like probably the goal is to focus more on the new users because you're gonna have a little bit more of those, hopefully. Going on to the
so
next topic, like I know paywalls is a huge part of our onboarding experiences. Why is that? And can you give us some advice on paywalls and paywall design in the onboardings?
So paywalls, yeah, so because that's the hot topic, right? How do I convert more of my paywall? First and foremost, your onboarding to paywall is going to be your most conversion. I mean, most people assume that and know that already, but
It's good to
there's
double down because I'm pretty sure there are people that don't know that.
yeah, of course. I say things very redundantly too sometimes. This goes into I've been in psychology my whole life. I'm not a degree, I don't study it, but work areas and so forth. We're not going to go into that. But I had to design flows into sales things in terms of like back into retail, like how do we get a customer if we create this if we make this happen here. But anyway, so the flow from onboarding to paywall is the most critical part where it needs to be based from data. So for example, like the sales 101, the rule is you get 100 people, 50 are going to get 100 downloading, 50 open the app, 25 get through onboarding, 15, half, 5, 10 people, whatever at the end, give or take. There's multiple different paywall styles. There's the three screen paywall, free trial, when you're gonna get emailed, whatever, and then boom, continue. And then there's the biggest thing is the copy, the persuasion, the investments the user takes up until that paywall. So you can have these segments and then you can break these segments into how your users are moving through. And the best way of doing this is what I call hand holding. Your users, they lack the context that we have for our apps, right?
Yeah.
We assume 80% of the time we assume we are going to know what a user is going to do, and 80% of that time we're wrong.
Yeah.
So that's where frustrations come into, because we're blaming strategies in terms of like it's all about hand holding. So for example, like you have to look at your onboarding as a whole, and then you break it down into segments. So you have your information, you have and everybody's apps are different. You have information, you have info collection, you have before and afters, you have when you use our app, when you don't, or and stuff like that. And most people know that data that when you invest users through all these questionnaires, there's a higher chance of people converting because they've given you information and so forth. But most people don't understand that most users are only going to be on these screens for like 2 seconds. So there's literally almost 9 out of 10 times, it's almost you're doing too much work in design. Start simple, and then you can kind of grow from there based on what you need. In terms of like most apps are, and what I mean by the time element, I'm huge on time, because this is where you understand what customers are doing on that screen more than you're going to understand that whole screen itself. Because most people are just going to change out the whole screen versus little elements. So for example, like the dismiss button, once they hit a paywall, we're already going to subjectively already know we're on a paywall. And when we see that X, literally, if you're able to know the time of your paywall, you're gonna, if you see it, if you have an X, chances are they're there for 2 seconds, under 3 seconds. I've timed this. Literally, probably over 1 million impressions have tested this, and it's increased. Actually, I have a tweet out there for this for the more details. But by moving that X, by scrolling down on the paywall, just moving it to the bottom, it increased the time on paywall from like 2.5 seconds to 6.5, 7 seconds. And then the conversions increase, basically jumped like 5 to 7% from where it was to the high. And then you scale from there. It's not just like that idea is going to make you 7%. That's not how this works. You scale and you have to tweak little things. Yeah. So it's, when I go into this, it's literally it's taking what you already have and tweaking it, going into the color psychology of things. And this goes all into the onboarding. What I've noticed is into the flow, into the psychology element, back into your question of the onboarding to the paywall, is the colors, and what I mean is like the paywalls, literally 9 out of 10 times, I will say 8 out of 10 times, the paywalls do not match the theme of the onboarding. It's a completely
How important are the colors? Because I have a feeling that colors are overrated, and there are so many more things that we can adjust and are more important than the colors. Yes, at some point, colors are going to matter, but
it's a great question. Would you wear a hot pink shirt, or would you change your hairstyle to red?
I don't know. I think that if I would have a hot pink shirt and I would have still provide good value on YouTube, for example, people would still watch me. So because in my mind, I think like I would work on how can I provide more value other than like.
It's a great question. Like, Color psychology, that's an actual like degree almost. People could look this up. Just look into color psychology, mobile designs, color psychology. It's really a big deal. However, it's not a big deal outside of just your normal couple of dark tones and light tones. I'll give you some basics here. Like the reds and yellows and oranges, like reds are mainly for alerts. Yellows and oranges are move into that. Your blues and greens are going to convert better. You might have a nice blues and purples. These are all just statistical data. I'm just shooting what the internet's going to tell you anyways. So this, I'm not held accountable for this. This is
Yeah.
like, but going back to your question, like I have someone with years of experience can quickly think of color a little faster. I'm not a designer. I'm not the
Yeah.
design experience. Mine is like through color variations through through promotional colors and ads and people telling me that won't work. My colors won't. I've learned from hard experience from telling, no, I want black. That's not going to work. So learning, through the hard ways, but it is a big
Yeah,
deal,
just
but
a
not
side note,
really.
just a fun side note here. I remember on feedback back from the time when I was still doing freelancing from a client. His feedback was, "Can you make the green more appetite making?" I said, "There, like, how the would I do that?" So yeah,
Here's the other thing. Color and design are 100% subjective. And here's the other thing. What we think is badass today, in 2 months, 6 months or whatever, we're going to want to change it, right? Like it's
I
this.
think it's subjective, but like when you put data behind it, like it becomes objective. Like if the goal is to convert, like the subjective opinion, like I like this or not, does not really matter. Like the question
Yeah.
should be, is this converting or not?
In this case, yes. Yeah. If you
Unless you
ask,
want to win awards, like for design or something like that. I don't know if that's your goal.
well, there goes back to, I said, like, I wanted to bring up copy, right? So
Yeah.
copy is your biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's everybody's biggest thing. I spend hours thinking of how, that's my persuasion is my sales forte. Like that's, yeah.
Yep.
So, and we'll move like colors. Again, it's a big deal, but it's like, don't have like green with, in terms of those types of styling, keep in mind of those things, your blends, your gradients, those kind of styles.
Yep.
But going into the copy elements, short is better, direct, problem solving, guilt. A lot of apps are too salesy in their language. Most of the time, I'm always bringing down the tone because there's app life cycles of how language is spoken in apps, including the app store. So there's going to be a 2-for-1 here. So the language needs to be in the early apps life cycle. If you don't have a million followers, if you can't get 1,000 downloads a day instantly, then your language changes. It's like early on, the language needs to be more problem solving, direct, like,
Yep.
like my app, quit Zen, quit dip or quit Zen tracker, right? But then it's
Mhm.
like later it's going to move in, and it's search intent, other, and then also it's all about the psychology element of triggering people to stop on the app store to see certain colors and various things, and things, stuff like that. But back to the copy in both sides is you, because when your company is growing, you become more responsible, more mature, and your language matures a little bit as well too. You can stay the hard way, of course. It's not like there's anything wrong with direct language or guilt trip language or things like that. The app has different life cycles at different segments depending on what your app is doing. You start with a core and then it's something else, something else. So
Yeah.
eh,
Perfect. What's the next step?
people are going to hate this, but it's going to be great. Money, don't think about money and you will make more money. If you think about how to maximize converting each screen and the action for what each user should and what you want them to do by hand holding them for those actions, then the byproduct of that is going to make you money times whatever you're doing. If if when you look back at the onboarding flow, you could look back at like how screen for screen is doing. So it's like, where are you losing users, which you already know you're losing 10%, but it could just be a simple copy change. For example, like the buttons, right? Buttons are a big deal. Like continue is my kind of go-to if I don't want to, like, if just a basic screen that doesn't need a button, like I know there's going to be a 90% conversion on this screen, continues the word I use. The paywall is different. We can talk all day about copy on paywall. That's very dependent. For me, it's dependent on, I like to reintroduce what they've learned from the onboarding into the paywalls as well. So for like, it's like, let's recap. I like to think of kind of like paywalls as like a recap, and then it's kind of like a closing this and stuff. So it's like, all right, well, you're set up on this. So it's like, I understand we use remote paywalls and we can't necessarily transfer the data to these paywalls, which would be amazing if we could, because
You
it's
can.
like,
Nowadays you can. With custom variables, like it's possible.
correct. I'm only
Depending
saying,
on
I
the
guess, like really quickly. So yes, please correct me where I'm definitely wrong. And it's gonna be where it's seamless anyways. So I'm
yeah.
speaking a little pessimistic. I know it's gonna be, I'll speak as it's seamless regardless. So like we'll be able to have that data on our paywall, which reaffirms the user what they're doing instead of a check mark, unlock this. It's like, instead of that, it's like, okay, Maria, or okay, Mark, or whatever. It's like, let's recap what we reviewed, boom, boom, boom. And then it's like, if you had the 3 paywall things, like, here's the free trial and so forth. And then it's like, and then we go deeper into the segmentation that we could do with targeting. All of them do the targeting where you can bring like, countries like Germany, they love one price deals, whatnot. So, and then you could test free trial or no free trial. Did you have a question on this? Because I want to jump into the price psychology as well on that
Mhm.
too.
No, it's the whole mindset of not focusing too much on the revenue, but focusing on just improving and getting better, improving your application every day. I think it's something important and something that I'm thinking about very often, like recently, because at one point when thinking about like North Star metric for the mobile application, like I end up thinking that the North Star metric for a business should be like revenue or even like profitability. Like at the end of the day, like a business purpose is to generate profit, and that should be linked to your North Star metric as well. But at the same time, I understand like this idea, like you're not just hyper focusing on like revenue, like you're focusing on how can I improve my stuff that later leads to revenue. And I'm doing this reflection with myself like often during my jiu-jitsu trainings. I
Ah, nice.
started like less than 1 year ago, like I'm still like super new, like I'm a white belt, and somewhere in my mind I'm thinking like when I'm gonna get like the next stripe or the next belt. But then I'm stopping myself like, no, like you don't need to think about that. You need to think about how can I improve myself, and the byproduct is going to be whatever outside think are like a belt or so on. And I'm taking to compare this with my app business as well. Like, how can I improve it? How can I learn more about onboarding screens, about what experiment I can run? How can I improve their retention or things like that? But at the same time, I still have to think about the revenue because that's the North Star metric. So it's
That's
always like somewhere in between or
no, that's thanks for sharing, man. That's us. That's awesome. Because I'm doing Muay Thai, so it's
oh
like,
nice.
let's battle one. No, this I'd be a white belt too. But to add on to what you're saying, like going into your jujitsu, right? Correct me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's thinking about the steps, right? Not the strategy. So, for example, if your coach is saying, "Oh, you're not punching," raise your elbow, right? So, okay, that's the strategy, but how, right? So you would take like, I don't want to flex I'll just show on my shirt. But like, okay, so it's like, all right, well, I have a muscle here, I have a muscle here, and that this is how is how I'm thinking. And then it's like, okay, so if the muscle, whoa, okay, there we go. And then it's like, all right, and then so the strategy is this, but your step by step is like,
Mhm.
okay, it's like a golf swing. It's like if you tilt your butt to it, all that, whatever, it's like there's endless golf tips and endless app tips. They're endless. So it's like, but anyway, you get what I'm saying now, right? The steps within that. So
Yeah. Yeah, dividing things into steps and seeing like what you can improve the easiest and doing
correct,
that day in and day out, like every single
correct.
day.
And they're byproduct
And a lot
of
of
all
things,
of that.
a lot of these things, like they feel like it's nothing. They feel small, they feel insignificant, they feel that they're not moving the needle. But when you stack them up over a year of daily improvements, small improvements, it adds up. And yeah, like in the end, like you look back, oh, the revenue actually grew by X10 in the last couple of months.
Like that's the other thing. We're stuck in short-term thinking, right? The world is in the Dunning-Kruger effect right now. And it's this like, if we give ourselves more time, and I'm a hypocrite here, by the way. I'm a big hypocrite because like some of this stuff I forget and I don't do, and then people call me out on it. It's fine. But it's like, if we stop thinking in short span, oh, this idea is not going to work, this step won't work, give it time just so you have official data, because it's like we all do things too prematurely. For example, like we might be testing a strategy and then it might be working and then it just tanks, right? But then we're not thinking about the deeper side of things. We're looking at the strategy. Well, maybe that strategy ran during a holiday. Maybe that strategy ran during an event of something. And so that data became skewed because of that. It wasn't the normal data. We're thinking, and this goes into my favorite demystifying effect. Like everybody loves the spikes, right? I love them too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not excited about the spikes at all. I'm just like, all right. Because it's gonna plateau and then it's gonna come down. But then I look for where is it coming down and so forth. So for example, like if it went up, let's say I was making 100 MRR, it goes up to 500 MRR, and then it tanks to 200 MRR, 200 MRR. So I basically, before that event, that's 100% jump, right? But we don't
But it
think,
feels so bad to see it go from 500
oh,
to
it feels
200.
so gut wrenching, right? But in the long run, going back to what you said, in the long run, dude, you have no idea how it's all about thinking longer than a week.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah, like you basically described some of the things that I'm going through right now. I started
we all,
recently,
me
and
too.
I'm also like looking like one day like there is a spike, like it goes to 700 MRR, and I'm very happy. Then it goes back to 500. I'm sad, and what I do is just I put not like last 20 days, I put last 90 days. And then like, oh, all of a sudden it's 3 times more. Like, and I feel better and I move on. But I'm still working on trying to detach my feelings from the numbers. It's hard. It's
Dude,
always
I'm
hard.
with you 100. I'm with you, man. We can have a group together and we can rant together if you want. So,
Yeah, I'm
so
pretty sure
yeah,
we're not alone. Checking revenue cut dashboard like
exactly.
every hour. It's cool. What do we have next? What do you say if I just share with you the onboarding of one of the applications I recently launched? So we can talk. You can talk a little bit about give me some advice how to improve it. Because
Yeah,
again,
this will be, I've never seen it before. I'm not just saying that. He didn't pay me to say that. I swear to God, I've never seen this before. So this will be it
looking at
actually
my
holds me accountable for how this would be like a roast, but obviously a roast isn't insulting. It's like, the
educational, yeah,
early
yeah. Feel
spots.
free, please roast it. So here is the app. I think it's the last app that I launched. Um, I researched it on a keyword on the headshot AI, and it basically takes a selfie and turns it into a professional headshot that you can later put it in your CV or social media. So here are some of them app screenshots, and we can jump into the onboarding screen. That's the welcome screen. And here, as soon as I press get started, I'm creating like an anonymous user. Later on, like when they connect their account, I will also have a button here like, do you already have an account? Sign in. So the get started will start the onboarding experience.
Do you want me to jump in, or would you like me to come in
Yes,
at?
jump in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so first, would you like me to do your app store really quick? The first part, or just the onboarding?
Sure. Let's
Okay.
start from the App Store.
Just on this top parts, we don't have to go into more. So the icon. So the icon is very just basic and simple. I mean, it doesn't really tell me what it's doing. It's just a woman, but the icon's pretty. It's realistic, which is really cool. Like a lot of apps don't do like kind of these realistic things. Back in several years ago, Clubhouse, the audio thing, they were doing this like monthly black and white of like an actual photo of someone
Yeah.
in the back, like a city. So it's really, really cool. um it, Anyways, but into yours, so like for example, like the first thing that could stand out that can actually make this like thing would be like I know it's not necessarily perfect like a camera app, but you could do like the brackets, the four brackets on the corners,
Mm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
that will just trigger. It's all about the icon is all about triggering when people are scrolling. So your first, because you know, your first five are obvious. The app store is changing now, so we're kind of,
Yeah.
we have like more ads. So things are changing now, but basically, I'll bring it up to like the first 10, but
Yeah.
and it's like that. So brackets on that is the first thing, and whatnot, and then maybe like I don't know. That's the first
Yeah,
quick thing.
definitely.
The screenshots.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely the icon like can have a lot of improvement.
I'll finish it on the icon. Most people don't A/B test icons. It's super easy to test icons. You just add an Xcode, just add multiple different app icons, and then just add a file with the others, and then you can. But here's the beauty of this, though. Just because you have app icons doesn't mean users need to see those app icons. You could just have them in your binary, and then you could go A/B test these icons on your pop pages. Did you
On
you're gonna
the custom product
No,
pages,
the product optimization pages.
the
Most people, that's so when you create your treatments, there's the the phone and the small screen, big screen, and then there's app icons. It's literally a lot of people. It's a believe it. It's very doesn't blend in very well, so it's very hard to see. That's when it only shows if you have multiple icons in your files.
okay, that's something new.
Yeah. So, and what I'm suggesting here is you could test a different color background for that icon, like a yellow or a red or
Yeah.
some purples and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then you'll see your data. You could just run A/B testing on your icons and so forth.
You
And
just
then
run an A/B test like on different icons, right?
yeah, um, I I'm a little outdated here. I believe the user of I think it's now they get the icon that they got. It used to flip back to the original, and I believe now it's always now their
Okay.
alternate. Yeah.
I'll look into that because that's really really powerful. I was thinking like how would they be test icons, and I always thought like I just need to change it, wait for some time, and then just compare data. But if it can be done better at the same time, like with a proper A/B testing, like
Yeah.
I have a lot of experiments to run. Thank you very much.
Like it's great with like for you, you could test multiple different women, right? Like
Yeah,
or men or a group or something. Or it's a
yeah.
headshot. I saw.
Or not non-realistic, like as a proper icon to see like the
Yeah.
different.
Or the mascot, right? Everybody wants a mascot
Yeah,
nowadays.
perfect.
I don't think that's in every app, but okay. And then your screenshots, headshot AI doesn't really stand out to me. Selfie to professional headshot stands out a lot better than headshot AI. So you could
Mhm.
do, depending how you would structure it. For example, like this goes into the copy psychology effect of like selfie to professional, or you keep it like how many words on one word, or sorry, one line, and then and so forth. You
Uh-huh.
have size. Does the top size look better than the small? And then these little things are little triggers of what get people to stop and look at your
Mhm.
screenshots and so forth.
Okay.
Um,
And the screenshot A/B testing would be done with the custom pages.
no, the prop again, the product optimization pages. So the two are, to the the custom is external sent in, and then product, Apple shows it to percentages based on what you selected in your treatments.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Uh, this one I like. You're just copying. So keep in mind now, right? Apple does they read screenshots now. So you would like to have more
Unique.
search intent type of framing, actual like pain points with solving points. And these could all be said in 2, 3, 4 words or so.
I was trying to fill in here some keywords that I have like in that I researched, and professional headshot is one of the keywords, so that's why it's here.
Ah, okay. No, oh, wow, you got them, all of them. I mean, do it. Like there's a difference to, for example, this goes into the app life cycle. So let's say this app was getting 1,000 downloads a day,
Mhm.
and you change out, I mean, you never change out, always go, okay, rule of thumb with screenshots, never just do them in your updates, go through pop, always go through
Mhm.
pop. You usually get them approved within an hour or two,
Mhm.
and they don't hurt you against rejections of your updates with, if it's just a screenshot issue, because then you
Okay.
got to change everything. Yeah.
Perfect.
This one, like the 5 stars doesn't tell me much. You could tone this up a little bit more with like social proof or something like that.
It's hard to have social to put social proof when it's a new app, but yeah, I'm always trying to be
It's,
very safe here, like trying
that was the first thing that came to
sometimes.
mind, because I'm very, I don't break rules. You know, I touch boundaries, of course, but I'm not the guy. I don't put number one on all my new apps. I don't do any of that. but go to the next one, and this is kind of the
This
idea
is
for the
like
rest of them. Maybe
I
not
didn't
this
put
one. Go
any
to the
thought
next
in
one.
that.
Oh wait, that was hey, in my new app, I have a video and it's me in there, and it's AI, and it works, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go into the onboardings.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the first screen, shows a little bit before and after.
Yeah, I mean, it works like for quick. Now remember, people we're thinking time here. So you could do something like maybe a quick 5-second video or something, because if you're trying to, if you don't care about the screen as much, then it's perfectly fine, get them through. In this case, you would want, doesn't the before, is the before an AI photo? I mean, yes, probably as a
Yeah,
developer, but
both of
like,
them. Yeah.
but what I'm getting at though is like, maybe instead of like that, it could be like oh, I had it on my, I lost my train of thought there. I
You
apologize.
mean to show like a bigger difference because the before now looks also good
It's like, how do I know that that's like, it's
or more
or a
realistic?
camera roll, maybe a camera roll, or like man, this is a, I had the perfect, I just lost my train of thought though, because it's like, oh, I know what you could do here. This first screen, you need to invest users, right? So it's like, see the man. Okay, you're just information. You could be like, um learn how it works. The copy is not right, but you could be like, go from this, and then maybe like maybe one screen or two screens. You could break it up into two screens if you want. And it's like you got to show more of the reality of the before.
Hmm.
It's like, think of the user in terms of like, not just in this part, just all onboarding. It's like, think of the user in terms of like, if I didn't know about this app and I'm using it for the first time, what would I complain about, or
Yeah.
what would
I
I
think
need to
like
know about?
now like that I'm brainstorming here with you, like I think the user is not coming here to change a photo. The user is coming here because it's a professional headshot AI and so on, is to improve their LinkedIn presence or something like that. And I could go back into showing like a LinkedIn header, maybe without like the logos and so on, with some icon like zero connection, zero if people are trying to get a job, in job invitations, and then like the after would be a professional headshot with like 99 job invitation or something like that. So that's the transformation. It's not like the photo, it's like actually what you want.
You gave me a perfect idea. It's something like, have a photo of someone taking their photo on a couch or on the beach, and then the next photo is the app or something, and then or this, and then and then it's like an arrow, and then it shows that photo, and then that photo shows an arrow into documents or CV or
Yeah.
something and other things like that. And
Yeah.
that tells the story of, beginning to, end. So
Yeah, that's true. Thank you very much. You gave me some ideas. The
yeah.
next one, this one, some social proof.
Well, there's
Probably I
your
shouldn't
social.
have it here because it's what?
No, your generations are kind of social proof too, other than reviews and so forth too.
Yeah. Here, probably this screen like doesn't do much. Like it's a bit informational and
So this is where we go into the flow thing. For example, like, and remind me on notifications too here. This would be great. This screen, we want to, the camera's a requirement. So it's like this analogy of like, if something's required, don't sell it, force it. So what I mean by that is like, it's like, for example, like you have good terminology copy. Let's create your first headshot. Boom. The camera prompt from Apple pops up. So instead of all this information, you can have some of this information summarized and on top. So then you remove the icon, and then you would put the copy on the top, and then you would put 2 bullet points or whatever, and then and then it's all black from there, or white from there. No let's go button, and then you would have a
permissions pop up.
chevron. No, a chevron. Oh yeah, the pop up, the Apple pop up. But then the chevron that does that's what's weird. The allow, the animation of a chevron that points to the allow, because you need to trigger them into doing what you need them to do, which is the hand-holding element of doing that. And then what I like to do is combine notifications with this. This goes along with other things, not just camera. This can go along with different types of things that you could combine notifications, because notifications is the most wrongful way of asking. It's getting better overall generally, but like in terms of like, it just triggers in a lot of apps. It just happens. And I think that's the worst way of getting your conversions, because notifications is going to be your initial retention, everything. Everything. So what I would do here in this case, maybe it would be like, it doesn't matter if you have them or not, I'll just tell, but like, then the next screen would be like notifications. So for example, like, I'll tell 2 different examples here. In this one, it's like cause you, if you get, if you have the same screen, the copy, the stuff, and then the prompt happens, they hit allow, all that changes is just the sum of the copy. And then the notification prompt comes up, the same chevron animation. And the copy has to be, you're not cheating, or there's nothing manipulation or anything. We want higher notification conversions, of course.
Yeah.
When we partner it with like items, it's just generally easier to convert that way. Because like for the next screen, so for that copy, it would be like, for this first, let's create a first headshot, boom, the camera. And then the next one would be like processing. It could be things like get alerts for when processing's finished, or for whatever. You don't want to oversell it because you can oversell every single screen, and that's where that's where a lot of drop off happens. Drop off is going to happen no matter what. There's no perfect thing. Like, people are going to realize halfway through that this isn't the app for them. So, and then the second one I'll finish here is, what I did in some apps was I had a camera, and then the next screen would be different. But here's how I would do this. So I would have the copy would be very persuasive, like, when do you start? When do you start your day? And then I would have a toggle, 2 toggles, and then 2 times, AM, PM, the classic. So if any of these toggles are on and they hit continue, that triggers the prompt. If it triggers the notification prompt. If any of the two toggles are off, or sorry, if both toggles are off, the prompt doesn't trigger, they go to the next screen, because then you save the Apple call from
Yeah,
requesting the notification.
yeah, for later.
I gotta stress this point because you only get so many a year, just like the ratings and reviews.
Yeah,
Um, because if they hit don't allow, they have to go to settings.
yeah.
So it's almost a requirement that you need to add that into your app in terms of like the back end. So if they trigger notification, if they hit don't allow and not onboarding, and then they trigger it later, uh, uh,
You have to.
you can program it, you could code it to where they go to settings
Mhm.
and to do that there.
I saw some amazing like an experience an app did that was like mind blowing to me. Like, not only did we redirect, like the easiest way is just to educate, like just text, go to settings, enable this, do that. The next
Right.
step would be to redirect automatically to the settings. What they did is they created a picture in picture view with instructions, and they redirected to the settings, and I could still see the application as a pop-up over the settings telling me what I have to do. And it was like, whoa, that's really cool. Taking it
Man,
to the next
yeah,
level.
it's like picture books, right? When we were younger, it's like you get excited on how kind of, but then that's just settings. But
Okay, yeah. So here, the next screen for me is a bit of a quiz. Um, a lot of this is AI generated. This is basically gender, but um, with different wording.
here you just make them big. Just make two big cards, and then you put neutral on the middle and the center.
Yeah, and without continue. That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah, without
because
the
now I have
continue.
to press
Yeah,
two.
there you
Yeah,
go.
that's good. Here, like, what's your primary goal? And yeah, like if I select LinkedIn, I don't need the continue.
The screen has, yeah, the screen works. I like it.
This is a little bit explanation of how it works or advice on to do it better.
This one I would do more like things that, I mean, you have the works and don't works, but you could do things like adding, like, definitely a lot more, maybe like 4 or 5 on the top of like do this, don't do that,
Mhm.
stuff like just more examples, basically saying that.
Okay. And the next one is select photos.
Oh,
I don't.
you have professional photo headshots showing as dudes. Have like some like real life stuff too. Like if you know if I took a photo like this and it works, like you can have that. So
What do you mean here?
yeah, like those top ones are professional headshots
Yeah,
too, which gives,
yeah,
oh, so I have to have these headshot. I can't have one just from a white wall back, like, have a wall passport photo.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Like this was like vibe coded these screens, to be honest. So I
We're
didn't
all
pick
vibers
the
now.
images, but that's a good point. Like,
We're all in the closet for vibing.
yeah. So yeah, for example, I would select one of my photos, a selfie. I could select like more of them, but at least one
Yeah,
is
that's
good.
perfect, man. I like that.
Generate. This is like a loading screen.
I'm gonna guess there's a paywall after this. No.
Uh, one more screen and then a paywall. Yeah.
Yeah, probably like
Probably
sign up
here,
maybe.
like as you were
Sign up.
giving me suggestions of notifications, probably here I would put it something like, hey, we are working on it. Meanwhile, like, enable notification, like, and we'll let you know. But in that case, like, if you say it this way, they might leave right away. So I would like them
So
to
I'd love
wait.
in terms of like investing the user I was talking about earlier, right? Like you're investing the user, like you don't necessarily have to have like 10 of them. You can have your cost down and do like 5, and then you could add like a
Little
glowing
secret,
glare.
I'm only generating one.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. You beat me
Is
on
this
that one.
is this illegal?
It's no, it's like we're on a black hat show. Anyway, but I do like this, and going back to what I was saying in terms of like you're investing the user from like you're giving them the feeling of what they're going to use your app for. And a photo of them is obviously the most gut wrenching, pain, like
Yeah.
positive thing. So in terms of you said the paywall is next, so don't go next yet. But like, and your button here actually could change as well too. Um, but like what I was getting at is like you can turn this onboarding into that investment segment stuff. Like you can have this, like you can be like in the beginning, you can do this and by screen 3 or something like that. Because you could do like you could have the screen 1 and 2 is quick info, and then you have the camera, which you kind of do, but then it's like um you could basically what led up to this was like 4 screens. I think you could cut all that down to like 2 screens
Mm-hmm.
into that element too is what I'm getting at. And then you creating, I got to think way deeper here, which I'm not going
Yeah.
to happen. Like this, you could go, yeah, you just create that investment to where you're hooking them early because the statistics are a photo is going to generate a lot more conversions when things happen. If things are in place, of course. But to finish on this, like the button, like unlock all 12 photos, you could do like, is it 12? Is it just 12? Or is there more
Here,
or
like
what?
I have 12.
What I'm getting at, like you instead of 12, you could be like, yeah, you could do 12 plus. I always say like, or you could do 11 plus.
Mm-hmm.
I always take the number um that I always had because then and I put plus next to it because then I don't have to keep changing it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Until later, until there's like a lot more, like till there's like
Yeah.
20.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like, you could also, instead of the lock symbol, like these are very like psychological, not red flags, of course, but like they like, oh, I gotta pay. It's like they're leading up into the drop offs. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you got them with, so for example, I'm rambling here and I'll finish here is like, maybe instead of this screen showing all 12, you could just show that one. And then the button could be like, see all 12 or something like that
Mm-hmm.
or something. And then instead of like, because you're already locking them in visually here and unlocking with the word, right? The copies, all psychology here. So if they just saw one, that first one which you saw, and then it's like the button could be like, you could have some info on here, some feature stuff like edit, or I don't know, but like editing or unlimited changes or something like that or whatever. And then the button's like see all, see all headshot styles or something like that. And then it moves on. It doesn't have to move it's going to move into the paywall now, but like, and that's fine to start. And then you can kind of scale and see and so forth. And I think that will increase your conversions just to the paywall alone.
Okay, okay, that's good. I'm still like I would have to A/B test this, but in my opinion, like psychology wise, like seeing things that are locked or like maybe the lock symbol like go away, but seeing the blurred things will trigger things in the person's brain. Like I need to see all of them, something like
So
that.
you could do, no, it's a great
Especially if the
counter to
first one
my
is good, like
idea that,
they will say
yeah.
like I want to see what the
No,
button did.
that's a great counter because it's like you could do something like you can do like a bigger card, and then you can have, so you do the card and then you have the blurred cards behind it, but like poking out a little bit,
Oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
something like that.
Okay,
So I'm just
that
shooting
would,
stuff out of my head like right
yeah,
away. Like,
that's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
idea.
So, you're triggering little things because the main focus is that, or you can have 2 examples. And one, this one is the main one, and then another real one behind it, and then a blurry, and then another blurry, like maybe 4 or 5 blurry ones
Yeah.
after that, so 2 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I see. I see. So the goal is to put more emphasis on
Sneak
the
peek.
generated photo because it's them and they like themselves, hopefully. And
And you don't need the lock either. You could just have blurry photo. Like
yeah,
you could have this controversial, it's not controversial, sorry, wrong word. It's like intriguing curiosity. curiosity will lead you to all sales or conversions to screen by screen. Because if you just, this is all sales 101 here. If you just shoot all your ammo on screens 1, 2, and 3, you're done. You have to save certain elements and copy and persuasion at key points within your onboarding and paywall and so forth. Because if you do too much or too little, then you're gonna, that's where you lose them or
Yeah.
whatever. So.
Okay, perfect. So moving on to the paywall. Let's see. It's trash.
I mean, it's a basic one.
Super basic, yeah.
So in terms of like this element, you could bring in the user's photo again, and then their before and their after.
Okay, yeah.
That already alone is right there. And then you remove the sales terminology like unlock. It's like yearly and weekly. For me, I do yearly and weekly depending on the app, but most of the time it's weird. And I usually recommend all my clients as well, yearly, weekly, but it also depends on the app. I don't say that stuff though. I say like explore 10 plus or, or I explore the app and then the app's premium name. And then I do like yearly, it would be like, yearly, it depends really though. Like sometimes it really depends. Like it'd be like, I'll either put like, I can't think of something in a second, but like no payment due or something like that. And then because the price has to be the biggest point, right? Or else it gets rejected, it's Apple. And then that's on the other side. And then I like what you're doing here in terms of the, with the green thing, but the white, you probably change that to dark. I think the dark with the
Yeah,
90% off. Yeah.
it's hard to read
Um,
indeed.
but I'm also looking at like a computer screen versus my phone, so it's a little different there. But yeah, you could use a lot of generic, just pure, simple, like man, like it's the before and after, and then you would offer like the investments of like if you have a bigger onboarding, you could throw in the terminology they use. You want to rehash, you want to remember what I said in the beginning, like you want to reiterate closing the sale is reiterating what they're already doing. It's not reselling new stuff. It's not they're it's and remember they're only on the paywall they've already made their decision in 2 seconds when they see the paywall.
Yeah.
So when you remove the X, you either remove the X. So I've done other different variations of a dismiss. I'm not a hard paywall guy, depending on what I'm doing. Just depends. Just really, really, I'm very app dependent more than strategy dependent. So, or flow dependent, founder dependent. Anyways, the X dismiss can move to the bottom row. So the restore purchases, terms, and privacy or whatever. You could do like the app name and then basic or something like that. Like I put 10 basic or something like that for my.
Actually, like I would even try a hard paywall here because it has like costs to it. And as you can see, I'm not even offering like the 3 days free trial on the weekly, which I usually do. But here I decided like, let's not do that. So yeah, there is not a lot of freemium stuff, to be honest. Like
You're
after
absolutely
if you close this one.
in that case, like, oh, this is gonna trigger people. You can have ads for free users, So like so for example, like if when they generate, before it generates, watch ad to generate and so forth. And that's your free version. And then but you're right though, you can't just have AI go endless, right? Because your bill, that's crazy. So like you can have the hard paywall, but the language has to be persuasive. There's a lot of things, but if you have no choice, then go hard paywall.
All right, yeah, there is a lot of things to test here, and I've got a lot of ideas here. Yeah,
and then I advocate to having a screen for when they convert either a free trial. So the biggest drop, so free trials like 70% drop off, almost
day zero, right? Like I think the revenue cuts up, state of subscription apps was saying that around like 50% or even more of free trials they are canceled on day zero, like instantly.
Of course, it depends on the app too. So we'll go 50 to 70, which is substantially a lot. And until the biggest thing that will help this will be Apple's retention thing when all apps can start using that. But right now, the biggest great thing that I've been using is like a screen that's like a thank you screen basically for after they're converting. This is going to reiterate the benefits that they're getting, the features. It's going to be like, I use words that trigger people that do things subconsciously. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to cancel a trial 5 seconds after subscribing to some apps just to use it for a minute. I get that. That's going to happen all the time. In terms of this thank you screen, I use terminology like before you cancel,
Mm-hmm.
or things like not before you can. It depends. That's a little too direct. It's because it's like we're assuming they're canceling, so we don't necessarily use that. But in terms of like instead of canceling here, or you could say you want to use the word cancel, but you got to use it in a subtle way that's not directly calling them out for anything. And then, like I said, the benefit stream for all the thank you for becoming a plus user, whatever. Here's what you're going to get. Look forward to these and that and so forth. So,
And yeah, probably if you time it also with some emails, like that's a topic that I haven't explored yet, but I think it should be huge.
and triggers like,
Notifications for emails,
yeah,
yeah.
notifications. The beauty of notifications, how, and going back to it, that's right. Cause going back to the getting notifications approved early is the biggest way retention. Like I have apps that are just sitting dead or whatever, 0 to 5 downloads a day or whatever, just organic, just sitting there. But they have like 4 to 10 average app users a day because of retention from notifications. And I've learned this way back years ago on why that's how I stand. Why are people still using it, but the app doesn't get any downloads? And then I figured out it was notifications because they're getting reminded about that. Like it's a journal app. And then I had like another app that something that was doing that. So, and whatnot. But, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Right after this call, I'm going to go ahead and implement some of these things in the app, and I will let you know how it performs. That was a lot. That was super valuable
It was
for
actually a
me.
lot.
And I'm sorry?
That was a lot. Just commenting on that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was super valuable. So thank you. Thank you very much,
I
Mark.
have one quick tip for everybody to finish off, if that's all right.
Please.
So it's app updates. So app updates, you need to segment your app updates into 3 different categories because it's going to drive first. Apple loves updates, not necessarily every day or anything, but I aim for 1 update a week. And then I segment into 3. One is going to be an App Store Connect update, which of course you have to have a new build for that. And that's fine. Don't worry about pushing an app. That's the whole point of an ASC update is just for ASC. Push a build with it. It's not about the app. And then the next segment is your small updates. This is going to be your app. And this is going to be bugs and performance and things like that, and just little, maybe small, easy features or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have your big update, which is your large updates. And these are going to include nominations. These are going to include events. These are going to include everything. You want to run an event. I've got 2 tips now. You want to run an event every single month, and you want to have an event a month ahead in advance, and then throw the nomination on top of that behind it after you submit the event, because then Apple needs that 3+ week layover, because then if you're doing this every single month, there's a much higher statistical advantage than 0 that you will be. I mean, it's like 1% chance that you'll ever be featured, but it's better than 0%. Let's put it that way. So, and I've had apps do this before. So, and that get featured, even if it's just like a 1-day thing.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Actually, like all of these things that you shared just now is something new to me. I haven't tried like events and stuff like that. So that might even be a topic for another podcast. So guys, if you'd like to learn more about that, let me know in the comments. Perfect, Mark. Thank you very much for this. Is there anything else on your mind you want to share? I know that you prepare so much more. We had like so much more to talk about, but maybe we can do
I
it.
really like it's think harder on the strategies that you're copying. Really think reverse engineer them and pick apart strategies. Don't take the strategy for granted. Pick apart strategies on what you like about that part and try that in your own apps and A/B test, of course. And then I post some strategies on my X and Twitter. You can find me on Mark Live on X.
That's
And
what I wanted to ask you. If people want to learn more from you, where they can find it, and you just share that, right? So I'm
yeah,
going to
so I
share
work.
Mark's Twitter. Here it is.
No, they got my fat photo, man. What is going? Yeah, so I'm very behind the scenes. I'm not a front and center type person. I work all my clients' success or their success. I don't take credit for a lot of things. So it's kind of I'm like a ninja behind the scenes on a lot of apps. And so if anybody wants to talk or work with me, I'm open to chat, free talk, but obviously not to work with me, but let me know. So we'll see interested and go from there. You can find me, yeah, Mark Live on X.
Thank you very much, Mark. That was amazing. Hopefully, we'll see you again in future. And thank you everyone for watching this. Let me know some takeaways from this video that you got and that you applied to your applications. And let me know also who else you would like us to invite to have a chat about app development. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to wherever it's possible, and I'll catch with you later.